filthy little mud. Happy Tuesday, Potterheads! Today we're going to talk about Chapter 7, and we're just going to unpack all of this Mudblood nonsense. But first, let's go to the recap. Oliver Wood wakes up Harry super early one morning for Quidditch practice. Colin Creevey follows Harry all the way down to the Quidditch pitch. Wood gives the Gryffindors a long speech about this year being their year, then they head out to practice. But the Slytherins interrupt their practice and say they need to train their new Seeker, Draco Malfoy. Malfoy's father has bought the Slytherin team all brand new Nimbus 2001 brooms, and Hermione calls him out for buying his way onto the team. Then Draco calls Hermione a Mudblood, and the Gryffindors try to fight it. Ron tries to hex Malfoy, but his wand backfires and he starts barfing up slugs. So Harry and Hermione take him to Hagrid. While they're there, Ron and Hagrid explain what Mudblood means, then Hagrid shows off his pumpkin patch. They head back up to the castle, and McGonagall tells Harry and Ron what their detentions will be. Ron has to clean with Filch, and Harry has to sign fan mail with Lockhart. During detention, Harry hears a voice talking about killing, but Lockhart can't hear it. Thanks, recap! If this is your first book club video, welcome. Please consider subscribing and ringing that notification bell so that you don't miss a single episode as we reread the Harry Potter series. Okay, a bit of a disjointed episode today. Just gonna state that right off the bat. Because, this is a tough subject to talk about. Mudblood. Oh, I don't even like saying it. It's not a real insult in my world. But hold on, let's think about that for a second. Has it become a real insult? There's that amazing quote that everyone loves from book 7. Of course it's happening in your head, Harry, but why on earth should that mean it isn't real? Okay, so clearly no. If I just walk up to any rando on the street and call them a mudblood, chances are really good that they won't know what I'm talking about. But in our community, in our Potterhead world, has this become a real insult, and does it carry the same weight as other insults? To me, unequivocally, yes to the former and no to the latter. So in this chapter, Ron mentions that Mudblood is just about the worst insult that Malfoy could have come up with for Hermione. In the Wizarding world, this is the bad thing to say. And because of this description, I have often heard Mudblood compared to the N-word. For clarification, I am referring to the N-word in the context of a white person using it as a derogatory term to a person of color, not to people of color using it colloquially. And I just want to state for the record that I think this is an unfair and borderline offensive comparison. The roots of the N-word are buried in some of the absolute worst evils and oppression that our world has ever seen. Slavery is a stain that will never be erased from history, and the N-word is inextricably tied to that. And so I just don't think that Mudblood really carries the same weight as the N-word. I mean, case in point, Ron is willing to say Mudblood, but I have no doubt in my mind he would never even think of saying the N-word. I mean, even I'm saying Mudblood, but not the N-word. So I just wanted to clear that up right away and say, no, Mudblood is not equivalent to the N-word. It just isn't. Don't at me. Let's try bleeping one once and see how it feels. Mudblood. Ooh, definitely felt worse that time. And in a real world context, I think sometimes we even use it playfully. So even in our communities, we call each other muggles or mudbloods, but it's playful. It is still used as an exclusionary tactic, which is still not okay, but the intent isn't to destroy or dehumanize that person, just to sting them a little bit. Still not okay, but definitely not extremely offensive. And don't think I'm gonna start thinking of words that Mudblood could be similar to. Not a smart move. Okay, and before anyone says anything, yes, I know that Mudblood is tied to oppression in the Wizarding world, but it's not exactly apples to apples. So for example, we don't really know the history of the word Mudblood before Voldemort came along. We know it existed, and we know that pure blood mania was still a thing, but I don't know if there was such strong persecution of Mudbloods as there was until Voldemort came along. I mean, I hope we'll get to see some of that history expanded in the Fantastic Beasts franchise with Grindelwald, but I just don't know that we can say that the word Mudblood is as deeply rooted in such terrible evil as the N-word, and so that's why I don't think it's as bad. Okay, I just wanted to get that off my chest, so now it is time for In Defense of Hermione! Woo! First In Defense of Hermione of Chamber of Secrets! I think this is a foundational chapter in the greatest romantic saga in the literature of our time. Suck it, Edward and Jacob. I mean, come on, who doesn't ship the boys in Twilight? I'm just kidding, guys. I've never even freaking seen Twilight. As a quick reminder, if this is your first In Defense of Hermione, this is a segment that I like to do every now and then where I smack down all the haters of Ron and Hermione's relationship, and yes, that includes Queen Jo. Okay, this chapter is incredible when it comes to the beginnings of Ron and Hermione. When Draco calls Hermione a mudblood, sure, all the Gryffindors are quick to jump to her defense, but Ronald is the only one who goes for his wand. He was absolutely ready to do some real damage to Malfoy. Ya boy's gonna stand up for his boo thing. Nope, never say that again. Not only does Ron try to hex Malfoy, but but Hermione later says that the spell he was trying to do is an extremely difficult one. Like, Ronald Bilius Weasley was about to step up for his girl. Then, on the way to Hagrid's cabin, Harry is silent, great friend as always, but Hermione is the one that is verbally trying to comfort Ron. Then once they're in Hagrid's cabin, contrary to the movie, it's Ron who explains what Mudblood means. He cares so much about taking care of Hermione and making sure that she feels cared for that he fights through the slug barfs for her. What a freaking hero! Ron wants Hermione to know how opposed he is to Malfoy's view of her and of the world. And I think that's an incredibly caring act that he's doing. Hermione for life. Individual Hermione title. I just have to say, I love that in the book, Hermione doesn't know what Mudblood means. I mean, it makes so much more sense. Just think about it. I mean, of course you wouldn't find it in any standard textbooks, and that is the bulk of her reading. And she grew up in a post-Voldemort era, where for the last 11 years, it probably has been a lot less okay to say Mudblood in public. Oh, bleep again. Fun! But you wouldn't be saying Mudblood freely anymore because that would probably out you as a former supporter of the Dark Lord. So once she gets to Hogwarts, she probably has had the least possible chance of exposure to the word. And I mean, thank goodness, the less hatred in the world, the better. And that's it for today's topic. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Has Mudblood become a real insult in our world? Is it okay to call someone a Mudblood in our world? Let me know what you guys think. And now it's time for Parenting with... Hagrid is once again the absolute best parent on the Hogwarts grounds. Okay, he's got a tough job as a parental figure here. Ron is barfing up slugs. But, like, there's probably nothing anyone can do about it, and Hagrid obviously knows that. One of the worst things in the world is when your child is sick and you know that there's absolutely nothing you can do to help them. All you can say is, I'm so sorry you're sick, but we just have to let it pass. It's awful seeing your poor little baby cry and sneeze and cough and feel miserable and not be able to do anything about it. So I empathize here with Mama Hagrid. One of his poor sweet little babies is sick, and all he can do is give him a bucket and just wait for it to pass. Also, one time Margot hugely vomited all over Jess, and I'm not saying it wasn't hilarious, but that's all for Parenting with... Another one. There's 7.
What? 7. They're all for you.
Yeah. This week, I want to know, what would your worst detention be? I am imagining right now organizing the potions storeroom with Snape. I'm just imagining all of these really disgusting, barf-worthy smells, and there's so much discussion of barf in this episode, so let me know what you guys would least want to do for detention at Hogwarts. And that's it for this week's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you like what we're doing here and want to follow along, please subscribe and make sure you hit that notification bell so that you don't miss a single chapter, and then please share this video with everyone you know. Your assignment for next week is to read Chapter 8. That's the Death Day Party. We're going to talk about something. I haven't read the chapter yet, so I haven't picked anything to talk about. But we're going to read it, and we'll talk about something next week. So make sure you guys read that by next Tuesday. And until then, happy reading. Knox!